Killer Queen's third bomb bites the dust. This bomb is a mini Killer Queen that hides in the body of whomever it's planted on. Killer Queen acts purely off of the will of Kira and shows that when the bomb is activated. This bomb activates when the identity of Kira is revealed in any way possible or is in jeopardy, unless it's done by himself. Bites the Dust can blow up multiple people at a time, but it will not detonate on the person it was planted on. After killing someone, Bites the Dust rewinds time around 1 hour since the kill. Rewinding time. Hold on to that for now. Now, Bites the Dust doesn't harm the person it was planted on in any way. Well, if you're excluding mental harm, then yeah, it doesn't harm the person at all. Bites the Dust also protects the carrier due to Killer Queen being bound to whomever it's on. It protects the carrier from outside forces, themselves, and even Kira. Bites the Dust is an independent ability, and the only person that fully remembers the time loop and is aware of it all is the carrier, and in this case, it's Hayato. So Hayato is supposed to be stuck in a temporal loop until he makes the changes to free himself. That's why he's so ecstatic when he finally breaks Bites the Dust, because it seems like an unbreakable fate. Now, here's the problem that lies in Bites the Dust and the concept of temporal looping. You can't rewind time, and I mean, well, from reading JoJo's Bizarre Adventure as a whole, there's a lot of things you can't do, and, well, this is a theory, basically. You can't rewind time and change it to continue on with your timeline. So let's revisit the first time we see Bites the Dust activate. Here, the only person that meets their fate to Bites the Dust is Rohan. Immediately then, Bites the Dust activates and the true ability of turning back time is now shown. The second time Bites the Dust activates, Rohan dies, and then the Duane gang dies too. Then the temporal loop activates again. There was believed to be the first Bites the Dust though. One that we hadn't seen purely because of how Rohan met his fate for the first time. There was also Kira's awareness being taken note of. He says that there is 4 times that the morning has been repeated. The first time was when Hayato had died and was brought back to life. The second time is where it had Rohan originally finding out Kira's identity in a different way, and then he died. Then the third time when Rohan reads over what's happening in that instance and finds Hayato's face, and then kaboom. And then there was the fourth time where, along with Rohan going kaboom, the Duane gang goes kaboom. 4 different activations with close to the same but 4 different outcomes. Now there are similarities to each of those activations, the things that were believed to be fate when it came to the case. Before I break this in, I'm going to introduce you guys to the Grandfather Paradox. Grandfather Paradox, viewers, Grandfather Paradox. Now say that there's a grandfather. He has a son, and then that father has a son. The grandson travels back in time and kills the grandfather, therefore never creating the first father. Now, if you're saying, oh, but wait, shouldn't the person who went back in time disappear then? Well, no, his existence is still very much real. His existence just originates from a different reality. The timeline he created now by killing the grandfather is now different from the original timeline because that's a timeline where the grandson actually exists. Time itself is not meant to be rewound. If anything, if we were to go back in time, then it would only be from a visual standpoint because you can't mess up anything in the past. So if anything, we would just view time like how Moody Blues works. Oh wait, you guys probably know that since you guys are watching Bites the Dust thing. Alright. Being able to do so is just odd and inconceivable. Well, depending on the person. So let's create a timeline example with what we had just been shown. So, you first have the moment where Kira is confronting Hayato on his whereabouts during Kira's kill of the couple. He had seen Hayato running away, so he thinks it actually might have to be that time where he actually ends up killing Hayato. Hayato actually stands up to Kira and gives him the talking of a lifetime. Or well, the talking of his lifetime because he ends up just blowing him up from the inside. So Hayato is dead and Kira begins to freak out. Kira gets pierced by the arrow a second time because the gravity of the arrow and that instance of something, he acquires Bites the Dust and rewinds time itself. He rewound time to the point of where he takes the place of Kira in that instance after confronting Hayato. You can tell that he wasn't even sure about what he did, but it was actually the decision of the Kira then and not the Kira that went back. Somehow those two became one, or there's a rewrite effect where the Kira of that timeline just goes poof and disappears while the Kira of our timeline takes over the scene. Now, with every activation of Bites the Dust, there's a new timeline being created. The new timeline being created holds the similarities of the original timelines that Bites the Dust has affected. The transition into the new timelines will follow through with the similarities unless something is made different from the get-go. That's the reason why the fourth morning wasn't successful. You have breakfast, the teapot, the phone call, and Heaven's Door taking effect on Hayato. Hayato had nipped it at the bud, so the last trace of fate did not follow through. The last trace being a huge part of whether Bites the Dust was going to be successful in the future or not. With every different option being chosen, a new different timeline is created. The teapot breaks, the teapot is caught, but breaks, the teapot is fine, but breaks and spills on Kira. They were all separate timelines, and it begs the question, what happens with the original timelines? Well, remember the grandson on how he still exists, but the reason why he exists is because it's in a different timeline? Imagine that every time Killer Queen rewinds time, Kira is being picked up and dropped into a different timeline 1 hour before the activation of Bites the Dust. So here's the timelines, and this is the hour before, and this is Kira activating Bites the Dust. He's rewinding time, but him rewinding time transitions him into a different time. Now for the timeline where certain people die, those people are just dead in those timelines. That's finito for the rest of them. That's the reason why Bites the Dust would be invincible when nothing significant is being done about the timeline. Number one is now a universe without Hayato and Kira because Hayato was killed, and Kira because he goes back in time. Number two is a universe without Kira, Hayato, and Rohan because that Hayato is being moved with Kira, and Rohan is just dead. Number 3 is now without Kira, Rohan, and the Duane gang because Rohan and friends die, and Kira and Hayato move to the last timeline, which will now be known as the main one, even though the main one is now a thing of the past. The last timeline will now be excluding Kira because he was the one to meet his fate and doesn't use Bites the Dust successfully. Bites the Dust is a timeline jumper. It virtually is invincible when it's in that light. Kira had won in the timelines where he was able to use Bites the Dust in succession. He may have not killed everyone, but he did escape from those threats in those timelines. So how exactly do you screw everything when you become virtually invincible? You get cocky. The main trend with Kira Yoshikage. I went over the personality in Kira Yoshikage in a different video, and that could be found in the card on the top right corner. But the main thing with Kira Yoshikage is that he has a huge trend of screwing up everything and exposing himself to the world when he is given such power. And, well, I want to say luck, but I think the correct term would be opportunity. I think we can both agree that if it was luck, then it would have remained on his side throughout all of Diamond is Unbreakable. But no matter what, we get the developed cocky killer known as Kira Yoshikage, with the real hero of all of it not being Hayato, but Hayato's true stand, Ambulancer! That's all for speculation and theorizing though. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you guys want me to do theories and all, there's more things I want to think about. But, I mean, I definitely have a bunch of stuff written out because there's a bunch of plot holes, and there's not exactly plot holes in specific, but there's certain things to where it just does not make sense logically. But it is JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, and it is bizarre. So tell me exactly if you want me to do more of these and more speculation, theorizing stuff. I mean, either way, I'm probably gonna do it regardless, but I just want to know if you guys like it. So subscribe for more content. Leave a comment if you guys like the theory and want more. And I have a lot of dungeons. I have a lot in my dungeon of files. So tell me when to go. I have all the files ready. I'll be making the next one. I'll make the next one if you guys like it. This one. Well, yes. Well, this might not be me. It's different timeline me. Wait, what? I'm confused. Either way, geez. But until the next one, peace out, guys. Killer Queen's third bomb, Bites the Dust, and Godspeed to all.